Hey guys, I wanted to make a video on the show Wayne and why I think that everyone should watch it. So Wayne is a show that came out in mid 2019, and it was a show on YouTube Red, which, as we all know, did not do great. Um, and it was 10 episodes, about half an hour each, and I watched it in a few days. Well, they released the first episode for free, so they can hook you into subscribing to YouTube Red. So you have to watch the rest of the episodes. And the first episode was really damn good, and uh, the rest of the season definitely lived up to it. Which is why when YouTube Red failed, it was pretty sad to um, to find out that it was in TV limbo and it was going to be very unclear as to whether or not it was going to get a second season, especially when it ended on a cliffhanger. So I was going through Amazon Prime. My brother and I were looking for something to watch, and Wayne season one was on there. And then I did a bit of research as to why that is, and it turns out that it's it's been bought by Amazon Prime to continue on that platform. So it's going to get a second season sometime in the near future, hopefully. And I just want to tell you guys how much I love this show. Basically, it's extremely simple. The show is about this guy named Wayne who lives in Brockton, Massachusetts, and he has a little vigilante in him. Anytime that he sees something wrong in the town, he decides to go and fix it, even if his idea of justice isn't exactly in the lines of the law. So when this happens in the first episode, but when his dad passes away, he finds out that his dad had this old car that he never got back because it was stolen. And Wayne decides to go on a journey from Brockton, Massachusetts, all the way to Florida to get his dad's car back, since that's really the last thing he has in his life that is important to him. But before he goes to Florida, he meets this girl who is trying to sell him cookies named Dell, who is she's a tough little firecracker. She's the meanest but funniest 15-year-old in Brockton, Massachusetts. And he asks her if she wants to go with him to get the car back, and she agrees because her family's horrible. Her dad's an asshole, and her two brothers are idiots. So they go on to like sort of form a bond on this road trip that's 5 hours of TV, and it's really well written. It's really, the scripts are really tight, and they make you want to watch more every single time. And the humor is very precise and a bit quirky, and the characters are written in a way where it's not exactly I mean, it's sort of out of the realm of reality in how they speak. They're written in kind of like a quirky sort of Wes Anderson way, and the show reminded me a lot of the Netflix shows The End of the Fucking World and I'm Not Okay with This. It's sort of similar to that in terms of tone, I guess. Um, but yeah, it's such a interesting show that I've never met anyone else who's actually seen it. It doesn't come up in conversation a lot just because it was this show on a smaller service that wasn't as big as Netflix or Hulu or something. And I think that it's something that should be discovered and that people should watch because it's so entertaining, and you don't even feel the time that goes by. When an episode ends, you gotta watch the next one. Um, the characters are interesting. The story is simple, but it's enough for the characters to carry the interests that you have. The direction is good for the most part. It's shot really nicely. Like there's this one episode that revolves around Dell that is shot super well, and there's this part where she jumps into a swimming pool, and I've been thinking about that shot a lot because it's so great, and I hope I'll be able to find it to put it here over over me talking about it. But and like, well, while I'm talking about that, when it comes to TV with bottle episodes, usually they're sort of hit and miss for me. Like I'm not into the Stranger Things 11 bottle episode, but I think this show does a bottle episode perfectly. And if you don't know what a bottle episode is, it's when it either takes place in one location from start to end, sort of like The Breakfast Club, or if it focuses on a character if the focus is on a character that the story isn't normally focused on. And we get a whole episode right smack dab in the middle of the season that isn't called Wayne, but is called Del. And we see Del's backstory before she meets Wayne, and it's some pretty like interesting and emotional stuff, and it adds a lot to her as a character that makes you care about her more. And sometimes I think bottle episodes are a bit gimmicky, but I think this is one of the best bottle episodes I've ever seen in TV, because it adds a lot of meat to the bones of her character. Like, they're both so interesting in their own different ways, where Wayne has the guts to do some of the craziest, most illegal stuff, but then when it comes to the more social situations that Del is comfortable with, he just sort of shuts off, which is something that I found pretty relatable, particularly in this episode where they're going to a dance all together, and he doesn't really want any part of it. And then Del is very interesting, where she has a tough exterior, but she's pretty soft and emotional on the inside, and you see that where she doesn't want to allow herself to cry in front of people. But she's very caring when she makes a rare connection to someone, and in this case, that someone being Wayne. I think some stuff in it is a bit convenient, but I was able to turn my head the other way for pretty much all of it, because there is somewhat of a vibe to the show that is larger than life, which works for it. So then when these sort of coincidences, or these moments where someone gets saved just at the right moment, or someone doesn't notice something that they should be noticing, those sort of are more acceptable because of how outrageous some of the, not only characters, but some of the scenarios are. And I think something else that's great about the show is that the entire cast is pretty much unknowns. And it's very cool to see these actors that haven't been in anything else get the chance to do something like this. Especially because when you cast people who are known, it can be a bit distracting, and you see people for the actors and not the characters, which is why when you cast unknowns, it's pretty nice, because you can sort of just watch the story unfold and see the characters as the characters and nothing but the characters. Although it's pretty distracting, because Del's dad is played by the guy from, I think it's the Allstate ads. So it was pretty weird seeing him there. But aside from that, everyone else is an unknown actor. And everyone is doing a great job. The guy who plays Wayne is British, but he has to do a Boston accent, and the same thing with Del, even though she's American. And then sometimes when you watch shows, you have that problem where it's like you look at them and you're like, they're not teenagers, but with both of them, you can pretty much buy that they are in high school, especially with Del. She's supposed to play a 15-year-old, but I think when they did this, the actress was like 21, but she's like very petite. And the same thing with Wayne, he's he's baby face, he doesn't have like any facial hair really, and with that, it helps to see them as actual teenagers. And it's not like, I remember I tried watching Riverdale once, and I was like, I can't do this, this is a complete joke. But yeah, overall, I think Wayne is a great show with a very dark sense of humor, and it's extremely entertaining. And if you're not hooked by the first episode, then it's really not going to be for you, but I'd be surprised if you weren't. So I do really recommend it, and I think it's a great show that more people need to be talking about, and hopefully by doing this, there'll be more people for me to actually talk about with the show. So yeah, go see Wayne on Amazon Prime.